Welcome members to another weekly update. It's Sunday, October the 1st after the market closed, 29th September. Please see the other video as always for the market direction. Not that it ever changes, it's always up, up, up. One of these days it was going to surprise us, I'm sure, by actually changing, but it just goes on and on and on, even on the short term, so whatever. Anyway, so just a quick note before I move on to looking over my shoulder, and for any rogue traders watching using that system, season is underway, and I issued a quarter 4 update for this earnings season. A few tweaks and to the existing system, nothing major, but there's some definitely things you need to make sure you got that video link. If you didn't, email me, but we need to have your email address in order for you to get this. You need to check it hasn't gone to spam and stuff like that. Anyway, we're off to a good start. We've got 3 out of 3. Was Camp in the week. Ominous name, I know. But anyway, then there was the day before earnings was there. Next day up. Sorry, it was one of these days. I think it was... Actually, no, it was that day. It was up the next day and up even more the following day. So that's good. And we had FDS. As you can see, it's pretty obvious where the earnings comes in. There's the day before where we get in. And then up she goes the next day. Great gains here overnight, and there was a third one here. We got 3 out of 3, and the other one was THO. That happened like that. No, this is the one. This was the day before earnings. There's earnings the next day. Up she goes, and it was that one. That was the earnings day. There, it goes up like that. So very good there. Let's look at other things. Tile continues to consolidate, push ahead nicely. I like the action here. If you could just hold position around 21. I was in down here, as you know, gave plenty of chances to get in there as it hugged the 200-day. Up she goes again. Creating nice set of boxes now. There's one there. If it can hold above 21, I'll be happy with that. Pico is one I mentioned last week, and it started to move. I was talking about getting in around this area here. There's obviously a line of support there. Started to get above 50-day now. It's heading in the right direction. It's fine. One new one I was looking at, ANSS. Nice line of support right there. Let's look at the weekly chart for the big picture, which is always a good place to sort of see the really what's actually really going on with it. And as we can see, the 40-week line is quite aggressive. It's bouncing nicely off the 30-week line. I use both lines, stocks seem to respect one or the other. But the main thing is this is an stock in an uptrend. It's behaving in an orderly fashion, and it's just leveled off to digest its gains, which is, as you know, where I like to strike. And it's right on that 120 now, and it's hanging on to that nicely. In fact, the move has already started to bounce a little bit, which is not a bad thing because it's going in the direction we want it to. So I think that's getting in around 120, 122. Hopefully it comes back into range a little bit, but something like that. And then the stop from, there's a steady line of support right there. I think something at like 118 is a very tight stop on that. And this is what I'm looking for, is opportunities where the downside is minimal and the upside is potentially unlimited. If I'm wrong, I lose $1. If I'm right, I gain $10. There's nothing to be gained by getting upset with things, or if it doesn't go your way every time. It's just playing the odds. It's like any betting system, and if you lose small, and if you win big. That's all we're doing here. Now let's tune in. Let's look at XLE. I was keeping my eye on this one because it was looking like a tempting short, but I did warn that it had gone SV60 on the daily chart, and so to hold off a bit. So I'm tuning in this week live as I speak to you, and as you can see, it just carried on sort of advancing. It's still in that kind of that region there. And I don't know if it would have to get back below 70 again before I consider that short, and below the 200 day as well. And on the weekly chart, it's kind of like got well back above that now, so it's not as clean looking chart as it was. I'll keep an eye on it, maybe come back to it. The big story obviously is gold. I'm looking at the metal, I've been watching that. This is kind of like a support zone around here, and it broke out of that after a double bottom, and it's pulling back a little bit too much. And it's every time as one student rightly pointed out in the week, is every time Janet Yellen, the Federal Reserve Chairman, starts opening a pie hole about raising interest rates, that strengthens the dollar, and that makes gold weaker. And there's no inflation for her to be raising that. I don't know why she's carrying on like that. I doubt you're going to see the aggressive rate rises that she's even talking about, unless she's trying to just cool the stock market down a bit. That's all I can think of. But that's bound to have an effect on things, and yes, even the charts. If we look at a chart of the dollar, which you can see through the UUP, what we can see here is that dollar got stuck in a big downtrend, and that was benefiting things like gold and the pound and the euro and so on. And it got a little bit oversold. There was too many people on that trade, and it's broken out of its downtrend a little bit. And but as you can see, it's still a god awful chart. I mean, this is look at the weekly chart here. Remember, if gold's going to do well, then dollar needs to do badly. It's been doing badly, but gold's just started to break out. So you can see it got in a heavily oversold position there. And it's just having a correction what was a very oversold situation. So to cut a long story short, I'm looking at gold here. I'm still in this. As you know, what I'm trading is the miners, which are obviously directly affected by gold, but the metal is where it all starts for me. And I think as long as gold stays above the 40-week, I'm going to be happy. I do want it to start turning around from this position it's in here. If we look more specifically at the miners, GDX is the one that Nugget NUGT is based on, but this chart is a little bit more not so distorted and leveraged perhaps. So it breaks above, pulls back to the 200 day, the 40-week there, and it's right on it. So look at the actual chart of Nugget. Because that's going to suffer more than the actual ETF. So yeah, it's been a disappointing trade so far, and if it doesn't turn around from this position, I'm going to have to exit and take a small loss on that one. Very annoying how that uptrend, it was looking so good and didn't take off there. As I say, we're being influenced here by other comments, I think. But look, dollar yes, it had a little uptick there, but not looking exactly a strong chart there. So I'll keep an eye on that this week. But it may be, if gold doesn't start turning around and pushing back up again, then that's going to be one to bail, I'm afraid. I still like it. There's a zone of support. You can see this little zone of support around here. Sometimes support isn't a line, it's a zone. You can see it going on. We're looking for a turnaround at that point with gold. That's about it I was going to look at this week. Lots to keep an eye on. A couple of trades on the radar as well. We're moving into October. It's historically one of the more volatile sessions. Good news for Rogue Trades. They're off to a start. Stocks are behaving as they should, which is a bullish sign when earnings beat estimates. Then the stock should rise, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So let's keep an eye on gold, and I will speak to you next week.